Sure.
Hello.
Hey, brother.
Hey.
Hello, Victor.
Forgive me for the delay.
No worries. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday, brother. How's your heart?
Good, good. I had a really exciting call today with a guy in Czechia, Czech Republic, who's excited about doing a gathering there, and they want to do it this year. Uh, Next week, I'm going to Italy to a hub that Futura and Gaianet are doing, and there's some interesting people there. So looking forward to that. And I spent 2 weeks cleaning my land, and it looks like I'm getting close to cleaning the part that I wanted to clean. I have a massive pile which I'll set on fire on Sunday that I'm also looking very good. So
Beautiful.
Nice. Where's your land?
in Portugal, just north of
Oh,
Lisbon, or less than an hour north of Lisbon, it's just a farmhouse which we rebuilt, and but it's 0.7 500 square meters, which is, you guys are acres, right?
Yeah. Well, I think in acres. I think Ash can think in meters.
yeah, but it's fine. I know an acre is 4,000, roughly 4,500 square meter. So yeah, I get
It's,
the idea.
it's 7,500 square meters.
Oh,
So
7,500?
So it's like 2 acres-ish.
a little
Or
bit,
the,
a tad, a shade under 2 acres. So
and is
it's
it
not
Portugal?
except when it's two people, and then it's fucking a lot.
Yeah, this is about what we have over here. So I'm familiar with those dimensions. It's a lot. It's a lot. For a family, it's kind of a very sizable amount.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, and
Good.
how are you guys?
Ah, in a bit of an intense moment. There's a lot of energy flowing through my heart. I've been up all night cooking San Pedro, so I'm like very laser focused right now. It's cooking on the stove. I actually might jump out and just stir it up.
Okay, cool.
Um, yeah, it's a challenging process figuring this whole thing out. I think we're all doing the best with the resource we have, but
So
growth.
can
I
you,
feel growing pains.
uh, well, maybe we finish the check-in, and then, because I want to know what you mean by this and what you mean by challenging. But uh,
Well, here, let me let Ash introduce himself. I'm going to stir the San Pedro and we'll get more context of what this is.
Yeah. Hi, Victor.
hey,
Yeah, the name is Ash. Very curious to be invited in this meeting. Arye touched words with me about this yesterday. So yeah, coming in with curiosity. Yeah, I hear I hear really great things about you. So yeah, really curious. A few words about me. I'm one of the caretaker of Masaya. It's a syntropic agroforestry farm in Nicaragua. I do software engineering as well. That's kind of my trade. Um,
what kind?
and, um, I'm kind of a full stack engineer. I do a lot of web applications, so React on the front end, Node on the back end, kind of the mean stack. It was kind of what I was doing for a long time. But I mean, recently with AI, it's kind of really broadening the scope of what you can do without going back to university, really. So I do, yeah, a lot more stuff in those last, let's say in this last year and a half, a lot more. Yeah, more or less.
Ash and I are also working together on the Sacred Sound app. I'm not sure if I mentioned that, but we're partnering up with the Ayahuasca Retreat Center in Costa Rica. It also has a recording studio, Sacred Sound Studios, and has had a vision for about a decade to build this application kind of streaming platform for sacred music. So Ash is playing an engineering role in that, and um, yeah, Ash bought the land here at Masaya and then invited me to be a partner here, gifted me some land, which I'm currently building humble about it, and we're sharing a leadership role here. And then we've raised a bit of investment from friends and family, and one of our friends that's invested is a young genius musician. He's like 24 years old, and just like I don't know how he learned the things that he learned in these 24 years. And he has this vision, kind of the musician name that he's produced under his Inner Festival Tribe, but he's also studying regenerative agriculture and marketing, and kind of had this idea for how to like really create the Inner Festival Tribe beyond his music. But so we're also kind of collaborating. We work on a lot of things together, so that's also the challenges of like there's a lot of moving parts, and how do we process tensions, and we're also friends, and like yeah, it's and work with the medicine together. It's a lot of dynamics, but I'm very grateful that Ash is in my life.
Thank you, thank you. Likewise, likewise. Not always easy, but yeah, we manage.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, what cultures do you guys come from?
Oh.
I'm born Jewish, 100%.
So, but Jewish, that's very global, right? You could have been born.
No,
And
Jewish is it's literally a race, like and an ethnicity. It's a very dynamic
I think
thing,
it's
but
very different being Jewish from the US than being Jewish from
Russia.
Russia or from
born in
Israel,
New York.
New York.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I
and
come from, oh, sorry, go ahead.
you?
I grew up in the province of Quebec in Canada. Come from a French lineage that traces back to Bordeaux. My family in Canada was and is still very involved with the production of wine, alcohol, mostly spirit nowadays. We own a series of distillery in the eastern province, which is quite funny. I mean, most of my life for a long time before I got into software really gravitated around alcohol and the sale of it. Now this January, I'm like approaching 14 months straight without a single drop of alcohol, and my vision around this substance has changed a lot. I see, well, it's kind of impossible to be in Central America and not really see, well, the damage that it has done, that it still does to this community, how it, yeah, really weakened the potential between human beings, and yeah, really, really, it doesn't bring, well, it numbs people and it doesn't allow people to access really the maximum potentiality in their relationship, you know. So yeah, it's part of why this space is alcohol free as well. Part of the, it's kind of impossible to have like an healing sanctuary and tolerate substance like that here. It's just, yeah, it's kind of what it is. It's a tool of colonialism. It's a tool of destruction. So,
Yeah.
so
I
yeah.
actually grew up in Canada. We moved there in '86. I did high school in Toronto and I finished
Oh,
university. I finished University of Waterloo and did my MBA at McGill.
and McGill. I graduated from McGill as well.
Oh, cool.
Did an MBA at McGill. Wow. Okay, okay, okay.
But
Huh.
I've been a bad immigrant. I went to high school to university and then I left the country. I came back. I did an MBA and then I left the country.
Wow.
Stayed and he paid taxes for 30 years. So I think overall,
Woo.
cool. The reason that I
Yeah.
asked about cultures, I think you mentioned, Ari, you mentioned conflict, and this is something I've become very aware of over the past year, how much the culture in which we're rooted influences our expectations and our ways of processing conflict. So I can tell you, for example, I mean, there were a bunch of things, but I broke up with a co-founder last year because we are organizing the event and there's a bunch of shit. And it was a bunch of shit that, in my opinion, was her fault because she like put up with people, you say, the more you say yes, the more people take, right? If you don't set boundaries. And then it landed in my lap. Anyways, it all ended with me and this other guy who I know fairly well, big Australian guy, having a screaming fight in front of a bunch of people. But we were cool, right? We yelled at each other. We processed it, like a few hours later, I asked him, "Are you okay?" And he said, "Yeah, okay, no problem, no worries." Everything was cool. But it broke my co-founder's world because she's from France. And in her family, when there was conflict, people spoke very in a very reserved way. How you do? They were pissed off with you. So two big guys in front of a bunch of people yelling at each other was just not a thing. Right? It was just not acceptable to her world. Whilst me and this other guy, like we were both emotional, we both knew they were trying to do. It was just too much. We got it out. Everything was fine. Right. So this is something, and this is a really interesting thing, when we come together in these communities and international, and we're all wonderful and kumbaya, and we all love each other and medicine, this and that, but we still carry this expectation, right? Can I scream at you, right? Can I cry? Can I not cry, right? Like, what's the appropriate way, right? What things is it okay to say when I'm overly emotional? What things can you never say? It's really interesting, and I think we need to become more aware of it. And I think for me, it's the most important thing. It's really important to carry humor about it.
Yes.
This is why stereotypes, if you play with them, they can be funny. Like there you are being the Jewish mother again. Right? If it's, you can turn it, it's like, oh, here I am being, the Polish crazy Slavic guy. And if you develop a language around it and an awareness, self-awareness and a playfulness, because you have to be playful, because in the end it's fucking funny, right? Right? You break down and da da da, shit happen, but most of the things that we deal with are not life-threatening, right? We were arguing in the end, we were arguing because he wanted straw in his thing and a tractor and this. It's not like we were standing in a life and death situation, or we were fucking privileged to be in a position to have this dispute, right?
Yes. Yes.
I had a really great conversation with a guy yesterday. They have a community in Seattle with a bunch of houses and stuff. And he said a really wise thing. He said, like, we lasted 10 years, but now we're struggling. And he said, you know what? I think we've gotten to the point where we're so deep in this, we've forgotten how good we have it.
Yeah.
I think there's so often in the kind of situations that we put ourselves, right? You guys went there, you're in this community, you're in fucking paradise, probably, right? And all of this, you're there. Exactly. Yeah. You're in paradise in all of this. So it's a fucking privilege to even be in the position to have whatever argument it is that you're having.
Ah, Victor, Victor. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, thank you. Yes.
I once had, and this perspective stuff is really important. I have this friend in Japan. Is this really cool guy? He's always fucking positive. Like the party is good, he's happy. The police come, whatever, he's happy. It's raining, it's happy. He's always so fucking happy. Is Ash there?
Yeah, yeah, he's
Oh, he is listening. Cool. Because this
making
is one of
coffee.
those powerful stories I have in my life. Until one day, I just like, just you kind of get fed up. And I went like, Taku, why are you so fucking happy all the time, right? Like human being can't be that happy. And he got serious for a moment. He looked at me, said, when I was 12 years old, my 11-year-old sister died of cancer. I'm living for two. I don't have time to be sad.
Fuck.
Sorry, excuse me. right? But it's difficult, right? This is the one of the biggest weaknesses of humans. We get used to everything, no matter how good.
Mm.
Recently, this over Christmas, my wife went back home to Moscow. She's like, Moscow in winter in the middle of a war, you can't even fly direct. You know, half of her, it's just no fucking way I'm going to Moscow in winter, and it's just forget it. So I stayed home, and it was really nice. I got to do stuff, and it made me reflect that I think one of the key things to keep a good relationship is once in a while you need to be far enough and long enough apart that you miss each other.
It helps. The gift of absence, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So, anyways, this is just some kind of thoughts around and observations around conflict. So, what did you want to talk about today?
Well, I see you as a partner in many ways, and I am only getting to know you, so maybe I put the cart ahead of the horse. So what I want to do is get to know you better and have the opportunity for you to get to know me and Ash better, and
Great.
yeah, like see what we're creating and what your vision is and what the coming together of it all is. There's a lot of moving parts, but the gathering is very much in alignment with kind of the interfestival tribe vision. You've been doing this research project on like funding regenerative communities, and we're in the process of funding this community. Just this past week, I'll tell you about on it quick, but just to give you some context, like we're succeeding together, and that's probably the most challenging part is like I'm totally committed to success, and like to the point where like I'll stay up all night. I haven't slept. I've been working. It took me 20 hours just to start cooking, and I started this at 3 in the morning. It started cooking. It's gonna be cooking for the next 36 hours. Like I'm totally committed. So like the mosquito bites all over me. But point being, where do we go? Like full spiral. Yeah, we're succeeding. We're raising the investment that we need to expand the land. So we have like 3.5 acres now. We just got the commitment this week from the most perfect partner I could imagine, who's a lawyer in the U.S. Who's kind of his whole thing is sovereignty, and he's like, whatever you want. You want a gift? You want ever? You want 15 grand? Cool. Like I'll send it to you. I'm like, whoa, we need to have like we need to figure out a legal structure and this and that. Like you're a lawyer, like we need your help. So like we're really able to build deep trust with purpose aligned partners, and I just kind of get an intuition.
Congratulations.
Thank you,
Thanks.
man. Yeah, we need 15K to like sign the contract. We need 105K to close the deal, but we can do a payment plan with a start of 15K, and we have that commitment. Um, I have the ambition that before we sign the contract, we have 100K in the bank. So that's one thing I'd like to invite you into, and to support in whatever capacity you feel aligns. And then there's the whole tech thing of like we're working on the Sacred Sound at Masaya, also Interfestival Tribe. These are all kind of case studies of Giving Back Studio, which I mentioned to you before. So you can see like the versatility of like this agency can build permaculture farms, it can build music applications. There's really like no limit to what we can create. So I'm 33, Ash is 35. Um, I'm realizing like the flaws that I have of being this age, and also the advantages that I have of being this age, and like just kind of like I'm a little bit stupid, but a little bit. I've learned a few
But you
things at
have
this
enough energy to stay up 36 hours.
Which is
So-
not as easy as when you're 20 years old.
yeah. So I really would like someone like you as like a more mature disposition and experience that can like, um, yeah, like be committed to success, and that's what I'm calling in as partners who can like I'm so fucking committed, and I need partners who match my commitment, and I also need partners who have more experience than I do. And I see you as someone that fits that description. Anything else you would add to that? Finish it up.
For now, no, it's good. I think it's great. Yeah, it's a good overview of, yeah, sets the stage well.
Uh, yeah, so I mean, thank you, first of all. Definitely interested in exploring how I can support you guys. Financially, I don't really have the capacity now, but I'm very happy to look at your materials, give you feedback, share it through my channels, suggest channels to share through, help you guys. I mean, it's all about communications and telling the story, right? And now it's all about making it easy and invite as many people, aligned people as you can to share your story and to retell your story. We have access to all of the publishing channels that are out there, but they're hungry beasts, so you need to feed them. I think that's one thing that it's been a really good experience, and we've learned a bit with the gathering is how to produce, and you need to learn to repurpose the media so that you run your longer video through clip generators, post, repost, and all of this, so you appear alive and you invite people. And then it's really about creating. So you need to create a set of practices so that telling the story into the world becomes just part and parcel of what you do. This is really, really important. If you end up with an attitude or thing that, social media, writing, video, whatever is an additional thing I do sometimes when I have spare time, and I do it, and worst is I do it because I hate it, but I know I have to, then forget it. It's people, it just comes through in what you're doing. So you really need to find what it is that, and ideally, if you have a community, every community member should do something a little bit, right? And then it adds up. There is so many ways that there is something for everybody. And it's not like you have to do Instagram or you have to do YouTube or you have to do LinkedIn. Find what gives you joy and you enjoy doing anyway, and just do that. Because if you are not good at writing, and you just keep on trying to force yourself to write because somebody told you have to write, forget it. It's just not going to come out. It'll be a waste of willpower, time, effort, and the result will not be great anyways, because it's just an extra thing. And the thing, find something, whether it's taking pictures or doing videos. Like for me, for example, I really love to write. I have to write more. Got so many, but I suck, right? If I get one good article out a year, I'm happy. But I love doing interviews. I love talking with people. Right? 5-6 hours a day, no problem. Sometimes I've done 10, 12, 15 hours a day of calls. So now this year, I'm really trying to get into recording as much as I can and thinking through. And then I have a small team, actually just one guy that's supporting me. I throw the videos to him, he posts it everywhere, chops it up, etc., etc. So, because I love talking with people. I like doing interviews. I mean, this conversation that we're having today, this is cool, this is exciting. We should both post this on our social media. Actually, there's phantom recording, so we can still do that.
Yeah.
And just bake communications into the process. So I'm definitely happy to help you guys think that through and organize it. And then, happy to have a call once in a while, other advice that you need on the project and stuff. How many people are in the project now?
Around well, 6, 7 investors to different degrees, and few people active on the land. And yeah, the way also we see our relationship with employees, we very much see them as partners. So then, with the new, well, I guess around 10 people, something like that, that are involved to different degrees over here, I think is the number.
Some
Yeah.
here, some abroad.
And then if we count the past member, it's around more like it's closing in on 20. People that have been here, that are still in contact with us, that are some of them looking to come back eventually, some of them sooner than later. Yeah. So
And
still small by all means.
so, what is the vision? What kind of a community or place is the vision?
We've evolved a lot around the vision, and I think it's nowhere near static. I'm not sure it's even gonna solidify to like this thing that stays always the same. Right now, it took us some courage to get there in terms of wording and assuming this vision, but the goal is to evolve a healing sanctuary. And we also believe very strongly in yes, sovereignty and connection with the land, connection with each other. So in this project, agriculture takes a really kind of front stage place. We really like to produce a very high percentage of the food that gets in our plate. And we believe there's something quite special, quite magic about that process. So yeah, sometimes the plate is full with stuff that is 10 meters from the house, and it brings us like tremendous joy. Um, so yeah, and yeah, powerful plant teachers are on the land. We grow a bit of everything, but the project is still young, so we're nowhere near cooking that. And I sometimes wonder, really if those plants are not there mostly for our children's, as yeah, we take care of them, and this is a very long process. So it's also about creating a place for them to propagate and to be yeah.
And are you in conversation? Sorry.
I wish to add on to that and to clarify exactly the way that we define the purpose is to steward this healing sanctuary that is a sanctuary for what we call syntropic living. This idea of like syntropic agroforestry with living spaces that applying these principles of syntropy. Is that something you're familiar with?
I know syntropic forestry. That's the
Yeah.
concept I've heard it in.
Yeah, so this idea that things become more orderly over time, but beyond that, and the way that I'm deeply inspired is like to create new waves of social enterprises through principled design systems. Um, so yeah, there's this element of healing, but also this element of co-creation and some of like an incubator. Um, Space where people live, work, play, create. Um, but yeah, there's something about like new social enterprises and the way that Giving Back Studio is kind of embedded into this, into the fabric. To be the way that I see it, Victor, is that like this might sound ridiculous. I don't know, maybe it sounds totally sane, but you tell me is this is a model of the quantum computer. The quantum computer is here. It was never not here. It'll never not be here. Like the grid, the macro processor, the syntropic field, it transfers energy and information. And there's something real to it. I wish to demonstrate this in a way that is real, is tangible, that can fundamentally shift and advance the economic system we have. That I think to demonstrate that, to put it simply, money grows on trees. All of the three criteria of money. Think about the criteria of money. It's a medium of exchange, it's a store of value, and it's a unit of account. Or any economics course in a university, right? What is a coconut?
I spent a few years reading about money in 2008 after the crash. So I have a above average understanding of the history and the characteristics of the system that we have. So yeah, I'm familiar with that stuff. So look, I mean, there is it's beautiful. There is a good number of projects, similar healing centers are developing around the world. Clearly, the world needs healing. So that's beautiful. Are you in conversation with other projects?
Yeah, one of the teammates that we have in Sacred Sound, you know, Jacob, he knows you. What's his last name? He's doing a lot of work in the Ozark region, Jacob Foster. Uh, he's doing a lot of work with what he calls harmonic architecture in the Ozark region. Um,
Ah, yes, yes. Yeah, much better with faces than with yeah, yeah.
yeah, there's also the community at Floristral. So like one of the ways that I see to kind of de-risk this, like just like most startups fail, most communities fail. So I've kind of chosen to have a foot here, a foot at Floristral, which is a community that's been around for 10 years. So I can kind of see what the challenges are 10 years in the future. So yeah, we also have kind of a plug into Floristral, and in some ways I see this somewhat of a satellite, but not, it also has its own sovereignty.
I mean, that's great.
Yeah,
And I I think if I was you and still me, I would really look to reach out and look towards building a constellation of starting with a lightweight partnership of just sharing each other programs, each other media, learning from each other. I would look to get like at least half a dozen, but maybe a dozen partners, right? And just have organized like a monthly call or something like this along a few streams and develop enough of a relationship so that everybody's sharing each other's media and invitations, right? Because in the end, spice must flow. You have programs, you need people, yeah. You need, thank you for laughing. You need programs, you need people to come, you need to build engagement, you need to build a community, right? If you can share some of this at some level with a bunch of other projects, then it just becomes, it becomes easier for everybody.
yeah, spice must flow. I hear you. Noted.
And, even if they're doing the exact same thing as you, they're not going to be doing the same dates, or they'll be a little bit different, or they'll be, in Guatemala or Mexico, which for whatever reason, we're all in this together, right?
Yeah.
Even if you're doing the exact same thing down the street, we're all still in the healing, building a better world, right? So the real competition is not each other. The real competition is the mainstream system. And we are
Yeah.
all in this together, trying to get people to open up their minds, their hearts, and then based on that, their wallets to the projects that we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just start lightweight, uh, just set up a conversation. I would start a podcast, again, interviews, because that's what I like. But I think it's also powerful of talking with other organizers, talking what their challenges are, create some masterminds and start building connections, because this way you'll get support. You will not feel alone. You'll get ideas, and you'll build up over a bit of time, you'll build up enough trust that people are sharing each other's things. And then, I mean, sooner or later, life is life. In 5, in 10 years, some people will fail. And then you can, then the community can be absorbed by somebody else. Maybe you can get a job there, right? Or you can give them a job, right? And we become more resilient by collaborating together and
Received.
more thriving. And maybe after a few years of talking together, it becomes, it starts to make sense to create some umbrella organization, right? Because certainly something that will arise, because it arises in every market, and it's definitely will be that much more needed in the healing space, is brands which ensure a certain degree of quality.
Yes.
As this becomes more and more popular and more of a business, there's more and more fly by night shady operators, which at best give shitty accommodation and an experience to people, at worst endanger their lives.
Somehow real quality. I've seen this like the bougie like luxury thing, air conditioning, and it's like there's some quality that's missing from that. But like, and then there's like the kind of like you live in a bungalow and like there needs to be something in the middle, like something in the center, like you know what I'm talking about? Like a real qualitative
I
like
think
quality of
it,
life.
it's not that the air conditioned 5-star experience is wrong. It's not that the bungalow is wrong. The problem arises when your expectations don't meet the experience, or the experience doesn't meet your expectations. Because some people like the bungalow, and yeah, I'm the bungalower and the little guy, but some people, to me it's funny, right? There are people at the gathering which is outdoors, and a large chunk of people were in glamping, and somebody comes up to me and says like, oh, I'm so excited, I'm in nature, it's the first time in my life camping. And I was like, you were in a glamping tent. I didn't say this, of course, right? I'm a compassionate human being, but I was like, you were in a glamping tent, and this is but but this is their life experience, right? Who am I to argue with that, right? uh, in
That
in
was me. That
in
was
my
me too.
20s, I was hitchhiking, I was sleeping by the side of the road in the ditch in my sleeping bag, and I was happy. So I just have a different life experience.
Mm.
So but I think it becomes also more serious, because if somebody just has a bad night's sleep, okay, they're upset. But if the medicine is being distributed by people who are not adequately prepared to deal with eventualities which come up sometimes, whether people having physical problems or mental problems, then we know people have died, right? And so yeah, so I think creating this coalition of people who are trusted and knowing people who you can recommend, and then all of this, and creating this kind of starting loosely with a mutual support group and sharing media and stuff, and over time working up to some kind of a more professional association coalition. And then maybe at some point somebody will emerge and say, look, guys, everybody's doing their own individual thing, let's build a shared brand. Doesn't make sense to have 30 different separate brands, separate media, and separate this. you
Call it
know
Planet Earth.
we've known each other long enough, and we trust each other enough that we're interested in doing it more together.
Yeah, I'm with you. 100%. I have two questions and a suggestion. First question. What came up for you when I shared the idea of like quantum computer, money grows on trees? There was a facial expression that I still see that I'm like, what
I,
what's
I
coming up for you
I don't know. I don't understand quantum computers, and I don't understand money growing on trees.
there?
So it didn't connect with me.
The
Mhm.
idea with the idea that makes sense that like your body and the earth are a quantum computer. Like you wear that, you wear the quantum computer. It's a wearable device. It's already here.
No, I'll be honest with you. I just have an allergy to the word quantum because it's just
Okay.
been so misused by people. I jokingly tell my wife that unless you have a PhD in physics, you should not be allowed to use the word quantum. Because and also I still have trauma from second year physics in Poland, where I looked at the math when we started doing quantum and I dropped out of the course. So, but I know it resonates with a lot of other people. It's just, I am not me. Oh, you guys dropped out.
Oh, we lost
One to
your audio. Okay, we're back. You were talking about
Looking at the math when you start doing quantum is the last thing we heard.
Yes,
So I think it is yeah.
at that point, I dropped out of the course. So
okay. I won't argue with that. Like I don't pretend
it's
to
not
be a
to argue it.
PhD.
You ask me. It's just not a metaphor that resonates with me, but I know it will resonate with some other people. So it's.
Sure. Okay, question 2. What's your experience with psychedelic medicine?
I mean, psychedelic. I would say so. I started in my first psychedelic experience was in the early 90s, so long before there was a strong movement of medicine, right? That word is much newer than my use of psychedelics. So they've always been part of my life. I've been to a few organized experiences. I wish they were around when I was younger, so I could
Mm.
have it when I was younger. I mean, I think it's a key a key part of the mosaic of the new world. And it's very interesting that you're coming from an alcohol world, which was also for many years, it created a certain kind of reality. And,
Yeah.
and also connected with a lot of evil. Read about some of what was around alcohol vodka production in Russia.
Oh yeah, I'm very familiar with like what the,
So
settler in Canada were doing to native. That's kind of the perspective I have, but I don't know anything about what you're mentioning right now.
in Russia, it's also very interesting where they forced peasants to take payment in vodka.
No
There was
way.
a revolution against it, which was violently squashed.
Wow.
It's certainly been problematic for many years. So I think this shift from an alcohol and stimulants culture to a psychedelic culture is a key thing that's unlocking humanity's progress and development to to our next level. The way I see it is humanity is on a journey to grow up. As a species, we're acting like an unruly teenager. And just as a child, right? A little child, it screams, it whines, but the amount of damage it can do is not so much. But as you become a teenager, you become strong and you become capable of causing real damage. And you have to grow up to become a positive force in your world. So humanity as a species needs to grow up to become a positive force. Lost you guys again?
No,
We're good.
we can hear you. The
And
video's getting laggy, but we can hear you.
I think that the psychedelic revolution is a key part of it. The psychedelics coming out of the jungle and going into the cities, I think it's a key part of our evolution. At the same time, I do believe that it's amazing the shaman who are in the jungle, who have generations, all of this, but they don't understand our frame.
Yep.
So it's it's I think it's a transition process, and already we're seeing this. We need to develop our shaman who understand our gringo frame and our reality, and also understand the medicine. And this is
Man,
happening. There's
sure.
people, there's
Yeah.
people, there's Western people who now have 10, 20, even more years of training that can hold ceremonies and hold space. So it's incredible. I mean, it's what an incredible time in history that we're alive at, that we
Yes, bro.
experience and see this.
If you're available the beginning of March, please come to Costa Rica. Come to Florestral. There's going to be a gathering of exactly what you're talking about, exactly these kind of master level, non-indigenous, but people who have really taken a reframing. Uh,
Oh.
Wow. Alexander, uh,
every time, Alexander, every time. I don't know if we're meant to talk or not.
all right, guys. So this was really cool. It's great that it got recorded. Maybe we can post it. Yeah, let's continue the conversation in a few weeks after I see Alexander next week. I am in the huge privilege. Send me information about the events because I want to spread the gathering. I need to drag my ass to at least US and Canada. And if I'm on the continent, I could maybe.
Okay, well, you're welcome here, and I'll send you some links. And I'll close with also hearing that I hear you want to support and thank you for that. I hear you want to support non-financially and thank you for that. And there are ways where you can be in part of Masaya, and we offer people an opportunity to invest in services. And I see you have valuable services to offer. So that's a suggestion to continue and find a way also to, I really value reciprocity. So find a way to reciprocate and make sure everything is balanced and growing together. Alexander, thank you, brother, for yeah, popping in here.